Once again, keep in mind, everyone, this is an all-volunteer fan website. We are not paid shingles. We are not paid for access. We don't get paid anything. And everyone who's just been ranting and ranting and ranting, I'm going to leave a little tiny troll treat in a silver cup. I'm going to put that silver cup underneath your bridge. The bridge where you live, Mr. Troll. So enjoy that troll treat. We're done. We're done with all that mischief.
Nerdrotic.com.
So it's been a little over 4 years since Amazon purchased the rights to The Lord of the Rings. We finally got a title, The Rings of Power, just a couple of weeks ago. We finally saw some images, and today we got a trailer. Well, not exactly a trailer, a teaser. Can't really say this is a trailer reaction because I saw this teaser a couple of weeks ago. I just couldn't understand the language, and now that I could, it didn't change my thoughts on it at all. And I guess I'll say this again. I warned you. I told you, no story at all. But before we get into that, I just want to point out one thing. There was a site that I used to recommend quite a bit to people, theonering.net. I have been going to this site for years, especially when The Lord of the Rings, the Peter Jackson trilogy, was coming out 20 years ago. This was the site to go to for me, and I was hanging around in the forums. Just want to point out, by the way, in those forums, I never saw anyone who had a problem with Ian McKellen being gay, although they love to roll that out on Twitter. Well, I just wanted to point out that the OneRing.net did a live stream with Amazon today. So now we know it has been confirmed. Amazon signs off on all of the fan attacks from the OneRing.net. And I'm still waiting for an answer to Jeremy from the Quarterings question. You've been calling out the alt-right YouTube channels, OneRing.net, and Jeremy simply asks for you to be specific. Which channels are you considering alt-right? I hope you're not considering his channel alt-right, or my channel alt-right, or Az's channel, or the Critical Drinkers channel alt-right, or just some guy. That would be funny, although he's been called a white supremacist before by Mark Wade.
It burns. It burns us. It freezes. Last white supremacist worded. What? What did you say? He's black.
It's almost like you had your responses ready to go before the trailer or the images were released. Now, one impressive thing that's going on right now is a Tolkien quote that is being repeated over and over again. Now, I don't know how accurate this quote is, but it doesn't matter at this point. Evil cannot create anything new. They can only corrupt and ruin what good forces have invented or made. J.R.R. Tolkien. Just like when Gina Carano was fired from Disney Star Wars for doing absolutely nothing. Hashtag I stand with Gina Carano. Hashtag Gina Carano did nothing wrong.
Don't try to ruin my life with lies when your life can be ruined with the truth.
Look at this. The comment section is filled with that quote. It's brilliant. So after a little over 4 years, the first thing Amazon decides to show us in their billion-dollar project is characters that weren't originally in the story. Shoehorned in characters, the Harfoots, the female hobbits. According to the Vanity Fair article, these two female hobbits are supposed to be around the margins of the story. Apparently, like Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead. Again, the first thing Amazon decides to show us is something inaccurate. It says here, before the king, but there were a lot of kings in the Second Age. So after they give us a voiceover from female hobbits, brand new characters that they had to invent for this series, we are shown War Galadriel climbing an ice cliff with one dagger.
Oh my God! Wow!
Cue the predictable responses, you're just threatened by a strong female. No, I roll my eyes at a strong female that's been turned into a dude. Femininity is power too. I have sat in the room while a woman has given birth. Have you? Of course, I'm talking to the critics there, not to the fine, beautiful members of the audience here at Nerdrotic. Apparently, this is supposed to be a younger Galadriel, but elves reach full maturity, meaning passing puberty and being a full-grown adult between the ages of 50 and 100 years. She is thousands of years old at the beginning of the Second Age. Galadriel climbing on a giant ice wall reminds me of something. Again, I saw the trailer a couple of weeks ago, thanks to Az, and this is one of the scenes I described a few days ago, and it's Don Lemon catching an arrow and throwing it back. And the only question I have is, where is the Silvan Elf Barbershop in Middle-earth? You may call this a nitpick, but it really isn't, and this is what happens when you depart too much from the source material. It stops looking like it. This trailer doesn't feel anything like Lord of the Rings. Okay, is this Gil-galad? Is this Celebrimbor? I have no idea. Who was Gil-galad? Just the last High King of Noldor, the High King of the Elves of the West, the King of Lindon, the King of the Eldar. In other words, a f***ing king. A king in the time before the king. And there's War Galadriel, the commander of the northern armies. It says a new legend begins in a story that's a historic prequel to an older story. It's like Amazon went cheap and got the bargain price for trailer cards. That's as bad as the description of Galadriel and Halbrand. He is running from his past. She is fighting for the future. What does that even mean?
Fan fiction.
Especially when we're this far into the trailer and we don't know a damn thing about the story, but we do know it's diverse and inclusive. There's Elrond that doesn't look anything like Elrond. And again, I will ask, is this a prequel to the books? Is this a prequel to the Peter Jackson films? Or is this its own thing? And there we have our strong black female dwarf without a beard. Now, the question remains, why didn't they put a beard on her? Are they worried about attractiveness? Well, they didn't need to worry about much. They managed to put a beard on a female dwarf in The Witcher. Why not do it in Amazon's The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power? Especially when you're adapting one of the most detailed stories ever written. Well, I think it's because they didn't want to make her any less attractive. What does that say about Amazon? Oh, look, the Don Lemon elf is chained up by his leg in a totally unrelated statement. I'm wondering if we're going to get any of that modern messaging that we all know we're going to get. Remember, the Don Lemon elf is supposed to be in a forbidden relationship with a single mom. Guess who's coming to second breakfast? Oh!
Don't blink.
Oh, look, a battle scene, and there it goes. Now, if I'm judging this trailer objectively, it's generic at best. We know absolutely nothing about the story, and what we do know, we learned from the Vanity Fair article, which stated they are compressing 3,500 years, that's roughly how long the Second Age is, into, quote, one time period. What's one time period? A year, 2 years, 5 years? That's still too short. As a Lord of the Rings adaptation, that's one of the most expensive shows ever made. It's nothing but a disappointment. But that's what happens when you prioritize the message over good storytelling. And to address the inevitable comment, which will state that I haven't seen this story, so there's no way I could judge it. Honey, I've seen this story over and over again over the last few years, and it always ends the same: a divided audience and a dead or dying franchise. So I wasn't impressed with the trailer that I actually saw 3 weeks ago. The CGI was average, the music was average, and alls I know is this thing is really diverse and it reeks of bad reboot. If you like what you heard, please like, share, and subscribe. If you didn't like what you heard, I thank you for listening this long. I will see you in the next video.
Nerdrotic.com. Please subscribe.